The story of the soldier who pierced Jesus on the cross is shrouded in mystery, controversy, and revelations that few people dare to explore. What happened to this man after he thrust his spear into the side of the crucified Messiah? Did he vanish into obscurity, or did something extraordinary happen that changed the course of his life forever? The Gospel of John is the only one that explicitly mentions the piercing. According to John 19 verse 34, one of the soldiers pierced Jesus' side with a spear, and immediately blood and water flowed out. This act, seemingly routine for Roman executions, carries layers of meaning that many have overlooked. But who was this soldier? And what became of him after the most pivotal event in human history? Ancient Christian tradition identifies the soldier as Longinus, a name not mentioned in the Bible itself but found in later writings and legends. Longinus was not just an ordinary soldier performing a duty. According to various apocryphal texts and early Christian sources, something inexplicable happened to him at that moment. When the spear pierced Jesus' side, it is said that some of the blood and water splashed onto his face, and at that precise instant, he experienced a miraculous change. Longinus, who was allegedly blind or had severe vision impairment, was healed. This sudden restoration of sight was interpreted by early Christians as a divine sign, an undeniable witness to the power and truth of Christ. But the story doesn't end there. The implications of what happened next are even more astonishing. Roman soldiers were typically hardened, desensitized to violence and death. For Longinus to experience a transformation of the heart after an execution was unprecedented. Early Christian writings claim that he immediately believed in Jesus as the Son of God. This echoes the Gospel of Matthew 27 verse 54, where the centurion and those with him, after witnessing the earthquake and other supernatural signs, declared, "Truly this was the Son of God." Some traditions hold that Longinus was that very centurion, though others argue he was a separate soldier under the centurion's command. Regardless of his exact identity, the experience marked a turning point that led him on a path far removed from the brutal world of Roman military life. According to ancient accounts, Longinus abandoned his position in the Roman army shortly after the crucifixion. He could no longer reconcile his participation in the empire's machinery of death with his newfound faith. Historical records suggest that he retreated to a quiet life of contemplation and sought out the apostles to learn more about Jesus' teachings. His conversion was not a quiet one, it was radical, and it came at a cost. The Roman Empire viewed such defections as treason, and those who openly embraced the Christian faith faced severe persecution. Yet Longinus did not waver. Instead, he became a fervent evangelist, spreading the message of Jesus throughout Cappadocia, a region in present-day Turkey. The more you dig into the story, the stranger it becomes. Some ancient texts claim that Longinus eventually faced trial for his faith. Refusing to renounce his belief, he was sentenced to death. Legends say that he was beheaded, joining the ranks of early Christian martyrs who gave their lives rather than betray their convictions. What is even more intriguing is the belief that his relics, particularly the spear he used to pierce Jesus, became objects of deep reverence and mystical power. The spear, often called the Holy Lance or the Spear of Destiny, has an extraordinary legacy of its own. Throughout history, rulers and conquerors sought the lance, believing it granted invincibility to whoever possessed it. From Charlemagne to Adolf Hitler, the allure of the spear has sparked wars, legends, and a trail of bloodshed that stretches through the centuries. The transformation of Longinus from a Roman executioner to a Christian martyr raises profound questions. What did he see or feel in that moment at the cross that shattered his worldview? Was it merely the physical signs, or did he perceive a deeper spiritual truth that transcended human understanding? His story suggests that no one is beyond redemption. Even a man who took part in the crucifixion of Christ could find forgiveness and a new purpose. This message resonated powerfully in the early Christian community, where many converts came from backgrounds of violence and sin. But here's where things take an even darker twist. Some versions of the story suggest that Longinus was haunted for the rest of his days. Though he found faith and redemption, the memory of his act followed him relentlessly. It is said that he suffered visions of Jesus' face, moments of overwhelming guilt that only prayer could alleviate. Others claim that demonic forces targeted him precisely because of his role in Jesus' death. In some accounts, Longinus waged a spiritual battle against unseen powers, using the very faith he had once sought to destroy. This idea of spiritual warfare adds another dimension to the story, blurring the line between historical record and supernatural legend. What cannot be denied is the lasting impact of Longinus' legacy. The Catholic Church eventually canonized him as Saint Longinus, recognizing his journey from executioner to saint. His feast day is celebrated on March 15th, commemorating not just his martyrdom but his radical transformation. His story has inspired countless believers over the centuries, serving as a reminder that no one is beyond the reach of grace. Yet the mystery remains: what exactly did Longinus experience at the foot of the cross that altered the course of his life so dramatically? Was it a physical miracle, a divine revelation, or something even more inexplicable? The answers lie hidden in the layers of history, faith, and legend, but what happened to the soldier who pierced Jesus' side? According to some ancient accounts and Christian traditions, this soldier was known as Longinus. His name does not appear in the canonical Gospels, but over time, legends and writings filled in the mysterious gaps. One version of the story suggests that Longinus was a Roman centurion, tasked with overseeing the execution. When he thrust his spear into Jesus' side, blood and water gushed out, an event recorded in the Gospel of John. But what happened next is even more astonishing. Some accounts claim that Longinus had poor eyesight or was nearly blind. When the blood and water from Jesus touched his eyes, he was instantly healed. Imagine the shock of a man who had just played a part in the crucifixion witnessing a miraculous healing in himself. This event reportedly led to a profound spiritual transformation. Longinus, once a hardened soldier of the empire, became a believer in the man he had just helped execute. The story does not end there. According to Christian tradition, Longinus abandoned his post in the Roman army, left behind his former life, and began preaching about the crucified and risen Christ. He traveled far and wide, spreading the message of the gospel. But his newfound faith came at a cost. The Roman authorities, alarmed by the spread of this new belief system, eventually captured him. Some traditions hold that Longinus was martyred for his faith, paying the ultimate price for the truth he had discovered, but there is another layer to the mystery. The spear he used to pierce Jesus' side, what became of it? This artifact, known as the Holy Lance or Spear of Destiny, became one of the most legendary relics in Christian history. It was believed to possess immense power, capable of granting victory to whoever wielded it. Over centuries, the spear passed through the hands of emperors and kings, each believing it gave them divine authority. But others feared it brought a curse to those unworthy of its power. Whether fact or legend, the story of Longinus and the spear continues to fascinate and unsettle. The man who inflicted what seemed to be the final wound on Jesus became a symbol of redemption and transformation. His story is a reminder that no one is beyond the reach of grace, and even those who stand at the foot of the cross in opposition can be transformed by its power. What if the spear is still out there today? What if its power still lingers, waiting to be discovered? The fate of Longinus raises profound questions about guilt, forgiveness, and the mysterious ways in which history and faith intertwine. What would you do if you held the spear that pierced the Son of God? Would it bring you power, or would it bring you to your knees in awe of the one who hung on that cross? The truth of Longinus's fate may never be fully known, but the impact of his encounter with the crucified Christ echoes through the ages, challenging us to consider the weight of that moment and the choices we make in response to it.